right now on the National Weather Desk. As destructive hurricanes become more frequent, the recovery costs are soaring.
The cost of everything going up, it's hurting every month, and it just continues to get worse and worse.
A snowy Sunday could make for a messy Monday morning out west, plus the connection between the weather and flu season.
Because it's cold outside, people are tending to be more inside.
And speaking of cold, meet the meteorologists who live at the home of the world's worst weather.
Is it ever dangerous when you go out to do the observation?
Yes.
The growing threat from the eruption of Mauna Loa continue on Hawaii's Big Island, and the threat of drought now for this year's Christmas tree harvest.
If the weather was right, it would be this tall.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And a very good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Brian Vandegraff. Well, the frequency of hurricanes that cost more than $1 billion worth of damage has nearly doubled over the last 40 years. And the cost of recovery and rebuilding from those storms have also skyrocketed. As Dylan Huberman explains from West Palm Beach, a number of factors are contributing to those rising costs.
Right now, definitely the cost of hurricanes is higher than it's ever been.
Hurricane Ian will likely be the most expensive hurricane to ever hit Florida, with estimates pegging total damages as high as $90 billion, surpassing even Hurricane Andrew. Lingering supply chain issues and the sudden spike in demand for materials has only made things worse.
Roofing materials are hard to get, building materials are hard to get. With the cost of everything going up, it's hurting every month, and it just continues to get worse and worse.
The Federal Emergency Management Administration is doing its best to help, tweaking policy just this week to make more disaster survivors eligible for assistance.
We've opened our 34th Disaster Recovery Center, and the seats are full with people that are applying for FEMA for the first time. So that tells us a lot.
HOPES advises anyone living along the coast to do research on their coverage before a storm comes through, because that's where the damage and the cost is greatest.
The more houses that are being built on the coastline, it's just adding to the numbers going up every year whenever there is a storm, for sure.
And this isn't a Florida problem. Hurricane Harvey, which battered the Houston area back in 2017, cost an estimated $149 billion worth in damages. Well, from the coast to the mountains, where a winter weather advisory is in effect for portions of Idaho and Montana this morning, the snow started falling yesterday, and depending on where you live, anywhere from 2 to 8 inches of snow is expected. And when it clears, an Arctic front will be bringing in below average temperatures to a large swath of that area. Some schools in Oregon are opening late this morning after a bit of snow fell on Sunday, and then overnight temperatures left very icy roads. Reporter Megan Allison is in Portland to show us how road crews made changes to keep that traffic flowing.
Staff with PBOT say they were able to get a jump start and get ahead of winter weather this weekend.
We've been actively applying anti-icer on nights when it's dry. We have to put down anti-icer when it's not.
If ice develops into Monday morning, crews can use vehicles to break that up, or they can spread salt and additional anti-icer when appropriate. ODOT also used anti-icer on freeways, and they're keeping a close eye on the roads going into the week. I asked ODOT when they make the decision to switch crews over to 12-hour shifts.
The longer shifts are really a decision up to the local maintenance yards. If, for example, the government camp crew up on Mount Hood, they might go to 12-hour shifts. They may already have done that because they've certainly seen a lot of snow up in there, too.
And those road crews, those unsung heroes. Also in Oregon, an aerial view of a snow squall that moved through the state last week. Our colleagues in Eugene captured this video. This was part of a strong line of snow showers that brought flurries to some of the lower elevations. The hills in Eugene accumulated between about an inch or two after the hour-long squall. Well, this year's flu season is getting a jump start, and there is a connection between the weather and the spread of the virus. Reporter Francis Lynn explains.
Snowflakes falling in Portland. Many told me they were excited to see the flurries.
I love the cold.
But heading into colder weather, we're also heading into flu season. This year, experts say earlier than usual.
This flu season is probably about a month earlier than we usually see it.
I spoke with two professors of biology with Portland State University. Professor Luis Ruedas says the weather does play a role in the spread of the flu.
Because it's cold outside, people are tending to be more inside, and therefore there's more contact among people and additional probability of spreading through droplets, through aerosol.
He says the virus itself can survive longer in colder weather, too. The CDC estimates so far this season, there have been at least 78,000 hospitalizations and 4,500 deaths from flu.
And so my concern is, particularly with the numbers being as high as they are, as early as they are, we're going to have a really bad year for people dying from flu this year.
And the professors say the best ways to protect yourself from the flu are very similar to COVID preventions.
And in Hawaii today, the Mauna Loa eruption is threatening to cut off a major thoroughfare. Lava flow is less than 2 miles now from the Big Island's main highway. In recent days, lava has slowed down to about 40 feet per hour. The U.S. Geological Survey says it's difficult to predict exactly where the lava will travel and just how quickly it will do so. However, if the flow chokes that highway, it could add hours to drivers' commutes. Have you ever heard of a frost quake? It sounds a little bit like an earthquake, but it has nothing to do with the tectonic plates and the whole process. Well, it's totally different. So to find out exactly what it is, let's head to meteorologist Violet Scheiber in Syracuse, New York.
So frost quakes usually occur when we see a rapid drop in temperatures from above freezing to below freezing. And this can even lead to some frosty spots and any water on any surfaces freezing over to ice as well. Next, this needs to be in an area where there's groundwater. That groundwater, when we get that rapid drop in temperature, will freeze over to ice underneath the soil. And when it freezes to ice, keep in mind that water, when it freezes to ice, expands. So that groundwater, when it freezes to ice, is going to expand, moving towards the bedrock and the soil as well. And as it expands, it's putting extra pressure on the surrounding areas. And with all that extra pressure, something's eventually going to break. And that's when we see cracks and breaks in the rocks. And those cracks can actually cause some shaking and even some noise as well, resulting in little booms. And these usually aren't too terribly strong, so not as strong as earthquakes would be. But if you are right under one, you could probably even feel it happen. Now, these usually tend to occur in Alaska, Canada, Iceland, areas where we get those really chilly temperatures. But we've even seen some of these occur in the Midwest, in some parts of the United States, when we get that rapid drop in temperature for areas that have groundwater underneath them.
In December, back in 1952, December 5th, a deadly smog took over London. Known as the Great Smog of London, it was a severe air pollution event that was caused by a combination of things, including industrial pollution and high-pressure weather conditions. For more about that, we turn to our Emily Gracie.
December 5th, 1952, a layer of smog settled over London and stuck around for days. It was particularly cold and snowy that month in London, and residents were using large quantities of coal to heat their homes. A high-pressure system overhead and sinking air, along with light winds, a moist ground, and clear skies, created an inversion layer the night of December 5th, leading to the formation of fog. Along with the water droplets in the fog, the smoke from chimneys also became trapped in the inversion, creating a toxic smog and reducing visibility down to a few meters. The fog didn't clear until December 9th. It killed thousands and disrupted travel for days.
For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie.
All right, thanks, Emily. Well, those strong storms in the south last week provided opportunity for some great photos. Check out this shot that our Chattanooga meteorologist David Glenn posted. An amazing photo snap just at the right time to catch this lightning strike as storms rolled across Alabama. And another cool shot here. Take a look at this. A beautiful sunset over the Gulf of Mexico. While some parts of the country are dealing with snow, others are basking in views like this with pleasant and mild temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Soak it up. Coming up on the National Weather Desk, what it's like to live in one of the most extreme weather environments. We'll talk with a weather observer at Mount Washington to find out just what it's like. And now is the time to get your Christmas tree, but droughts over the past few years are making that a bit more difficult. We'll explain.
Hi, everyone. I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. Today's probably the nicest of the next several. Look for afternoon highs to run in the 40s and low 50s. We'll enjoy a lot of sunshine today. That really won't be the case Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, the clouds, they'll be thickening up on Tuesday. I don't think we're going to get a ton of rainfall, at least in New England on Tuesday, but parts of, New York and New Jersey will see a fair amount of rainfall. Looks like most of the rain for New England arrives on Wednesday. Temperatures look seasonably mild with highs in the 50s.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Up and down the 95 corridor, starting the day, chilly. Temperature is going to be in the 30s most locales, and then by about noontime, we're in the 40s to near 50, and with sunshine, upper 40s to right around 50 degrees as we stay with fair weather high pressure as our main weather maker. There's some showers, though, south and west. Those could be moving our way for Tuesday, so watch for some rain for midweek. That's the scene here.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. To start out the week, a touch on the warm end for parts of South Florida will remain above average for this time of the year. In the mid-60s for the Carolina coast, in the 40s for parts of Asheville and so the upstate of South Carolina as well, and also temperatures staying in the 50s for areas like Memphis and Little Rock. Looking at that hour-by-hour forecast, we will see the chance for rain spreading across parts of North Alabama, Georgia, and parts of the Carolinas. Dry weather for Florida.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Mount Washington, pictured here from early this morning with some crystal clear skies, is home to the strongest wind ever recorded by a person. It's known for not only extreme weather, but did you know that there's a team of scientists living up there in those conditions to study those extremes? Yeah, they're pretty crazy. Emily Gracie recently spoke to Hayden Pearson about life as a weather observer on the top of the mountain in the clouds.
We go out every hour, pretty much on the hour, and we take weather observations 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So we are always up here. We are always going outside to observe what's going on here on Mount Washington.
How long have you been doing this?
My first day was back in June. However, the observatory has been here. This is our 90th year. So we've been up here since 1932, doing the same thing that we do today.
Is it ever dangerous when you go out to do the observations?
Yes. Yeah. We have a very good safety record, but one of those things are we have to be very aware of what's going on in our surroundings. We do have what we call an A-frame. You may have seen pictures of it. And that is to protect us when we step out of the building from any flying debris, since there are weather towers and radio towers and other buildings up here on the summit. With shifting winds, we can get the big rime ice accumulations that we have breaking off. And so they will fly across the observation deck.
What is life like? Do you live there and you're all like roommates? How does it work?
Our work is a week on, week off shift. So we have 2 shifts up here that are a week at a time. We have a full bunk room, so we can have up to 17 people here at a time if need be. We also have a full living room and a full kitchen up here. We're fully stocked as far as food and supplies go for 3 to 6 months.
Can you tell us about Nimbus and kind of this long line of cats at the observatory?
I can actually do you one better because he has decided to come up into the office today. So he is up here with us today.
Hey, buddy!
He doesn't come up too often. He does like once people leave and we don't do tours anymore, he does tend to spend more time with us up here in the weather office. But he has a long line of cats that have been up here at the observatory. They started out primarily as a pest control option, but he also provides companionship for the observers up here, especially the night observer, because there are 2 day observers, but there's only 1 night observer that's on.
Wow, that is one tough cat. You know, the record wind speed, by the way, was 231 miles per hour. Now, if you want to see a longer version of this interview where Hayden tells Emily which state he can see from the observatory, in fact, which states he can see from that observatory on a clear day, you can log on to our YouTube channel. Just search the National Weather Desk and click on interviews. Now, drought has been a major issue this year, impacting nearly all of the country. Lakes are at historic lows, and some areas have set records for just how little rain they have seen. We have 2 stories upcoming now for you about how those impacts are still being felt, and the first one deals with your holiday Christmas tree. For more, let's head over to Joseph DiCarlo in San Antonio.
We loan them a saw and a wagon, and they come and find one they like and cut it and bring it back up.
Jeffrey Sealer owns Sealer's Christmas Tree and Pecan Farm in Seguin. This farm, about 45 minutes east of San Antonio, is where you can cut your very own Christmas tree right from the ground.
We have about 8,000 spots for Christmas trees, and we plant 2,500 a year.
Sealer says this year was a difficult one due to the ongoing drought conditions.
I lost, like this one was planted last January. If the weather was right, it would be this tall. And I probably lost, probably 25-30% of the seedlings that I planted last year, and then a few of the ones that were a year old, and then you go from there. It was very few of the older trees.
But less trees this year is not hurting the Christmas spirit. People are coming from all over Texas to pick their own homegrown fir.
Could do without the wind today, but still pretty nice getting in the Christmas spirit with the weather a little bit, being a little bit cooler. Some hot chocolate would be nice.
Hot chocolate would always be nice. Listen, Christmas trees are not the only thing being hurt by the drought. In fact, farms have seen major impacts, and they are still ongoing. For more, we go out to meteorologist Cheriston Clark in Charleston, South Carolina.
We took over in 2001 and now raise chickens, turkeys, pork, and beef.
But just like many businesses around the country, the Keegan-Fillion farm has faced supply issues.
Well, for the last couple of years, we've faced really high corn and soybean meal prices, which is the basis for your feed. But processing issues, they can't get labor. We can't get labor, so we've had to downsize.
Which has since impacted business.
And the processing issue has cost us to scale down in chickens. We've lost some customers due to the high price that we charge because of the cost of feed and the cost of the processing.
There are a number of reasons for the supply issues, from weather events.
The hatchery that we get our chicks from gets their hatching eggs from Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. In the spring, the tornadoes that came through destroyed a bunch of their houses, so we were having problems getting our baby chicks. So it all works out. But it has cut us back on revenue, going from 1,200 birds down to 350. But we're making it work.
And the world is shifting, literally. The Earth's magnetic field is always moving, and over the decades, magnetic north has moved enough that compasses have had to be recalibrated, and paper maps, well, they become outdated. And in some cases, airport runways need to be renamed. For more, let's head to Kim Burrows in Reno, Nevada.
It's a big deal for a pilot to know the direction of north. As the Earth's magnetic field shifted, magnetic north moved too. Enough over the years, the world had to change with it.
Welcome to the newly designated runway 1735. This was 2 weeks ago, 1634.
You see, the numbers identify runways, but also tell pilots the magnetic heading of the runway. How many degrees off magnetic north? The Reno Tahoe International Airport just repainted the numbers on its runway.
This runway used to be 16 right. It's now 17 right. That's about a 10-degree shift because of the change in magnetic north.
Millions of people a year fly through Reno, 150 flights a day.
They're all using these runways, so for safety, you have to have the right designation. It helps all those aircraft line up and be controlled by the air traffic control tower.
But it doesn't just apply to air traffic. Compasses have to be adjusted. and paper maps could be outdated. Electronics are easily updated or even automatically updated.
It's a very easy change. It's almost seamless for those with glass cockpits with a lot of avionics and electronics. Those are loaded up automatically for us.
Pilot Jonathan Hartness says he's seen airport runway numbers change across the country. The change in magnetic north takes decades. And this is the first time in the last 30 years that the Reno Tahoe International Airport has changed the runway numbers.
And Pennsylvania has an annual contest for River of the Year. This year, the Conestoga River of Lancaster is one of our 4 finalists. So we figured, why not soar over that river to see what makes it so special? We'll be right back.
Good Monday morning. We have a series of disturbances pushing across the U.S. What this means is that for today, we have some very cold air in parts of the upper Midwest. We're looking at 19 in Bismarck, 29 in Minneapolis. You get into Illinois, Indiana, the Ohio River Valley, and we're looking warmer. But this means that while some areas could see snow Monday into Tuesday, other areas are staying warm and dealing with rain. This is the first of multiple disturbances tracking through the area this week.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo with a look at your forecast across the region. Going to be starting off overcast across a good portion of the region, but we'll see a little bit more sunshine as you get towards the afternoon hours. Temperatures climbing to the upper 60s across Oklahoma City to Amarillo. Low to mid 70s across Texas, so a very mild day, staying in the 50s and overcast all day long up towards Arkansas. Overnight, more clouds back in the forecast. Temperatures falling into the 60s in Texas, all the way to the 40s towards Amarillo and Oklahoma City.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. Some very cold temperatures below normal for much of the west to the north, stretching from western Washington, where we've had snow and rain, even west of the Cascades and the valleys, to Missoula in the 20s with plenty of snow in the northern Rockies. Now, the storm system, the weather maker swinging down to bring Tahoe a fair amount of snow with the winter storm warning through your Monday, but avalanche concerns in parts of Colorado Rockies today. That's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
An incredible display of lenticular clouds. FEMA meteorologist Min Fan took this shot during a hike by Mount Fitzroy in Patagonia on the Argentina-Chile border. At the time, he said he was explaining to his friends what lenticular clouds were. That's when one pointed over his shoulder and said, like that one? The saucer-shaped clouds form when moist, stable air flows over mountains and the temperature at the top drops below the dew point.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Twitter.
Now, while our team of 200 meteorologists capture plenty of weather, they can't be everywhere, and that's why we love sharing your weather pictures and videos, many of which you send in to us via Chime In. Take a look at this gorgeous sunrise near Asheville, North Carolina. Meteorologist Jason Boyer aptly calls this photo fire in the sky, and we absolutely agree with him. Also, fall colors are still on display across portions of the South, but with the wind and the rain in the forecast, the leaves in Conway, Arkansas are sure to fall before too long. And also, look at this, a fantastic shot of the road to paradise in Mount Rainier National Park in Washington State. As you can see, plenty of snow has already fallen across the park. Remember, sharing your weather content is very easy, and you can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search the Nat Weather Desk for National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And tomorrow, the National Weather Desk, we take a look at why southeast tornadoes are getting worse. Well, thank you for joining us today. Once again, I'm meteorologist Brian Vandegraff. We hope you make it a great day, and we hope to check you out again back here tomorrow. Have a great day.